Well, with me now is Andy Baker, the Deputy Chief Executive of the Child Exploitation and Online Protection Centre, CEOP. Well, you and I both know that we can't go into details for legal reasons, but how significant do you think that this case is?
Well, it's the first one that we've had in Africa. We've had others around the world. It's a third yet to go through the courts, but there's been two that have gone through the courts. And we're using powers that give us extraterritorial powers beyond the UK. So if a UK citizen goes abroad and offends in this way against children, sexual offences, then we have the power to deal with them in this country. However, we do feel that it's better that that justice is dealt with in the country, so things like culture, local justice is dealt with, and it's dealt with pretty swiftly. It's much better that we take that course of action, but we will not shirk from bringing people back to the UK and dealing with them in this way.
But when you think about the fact that there are hundreds, if not many more, some say thousands of cases of Britons travelling abroad to commit sexual offences, those numbers you're talking about seem very small.
Well, they seem small on the face of it, but we've had many people convicted in certain countries around the world. And there are hotspots, obviously Southeast Asia, Africa's emerging, as we found from our recent threat assessment, but places across Europe as well. There's no place where they don't go. It's not just about Brits as well. There's other people that are into child sexual abuse that travel around the world. And there's the push factors from the UK because we have got tough policing, the registered sex offenders and other laws that deal with them, so we manage them. There's pull factors that bring them into these countries because there's opportunities that avail themselves, as your short film shows.
Well, you mentioned Africa there as an emerging threat. Give us a sense of the potential scale of this problem of Britons travelling abroad in Africa in general.
Well, I can't really answer that question because I don't know, but where they are registered sex offenders and they have a travel order against them, if they tell us they're travelling to that country, then obviously we can monitor them, work with the authorities, and we have powers to share that information with them. But there are people, obviously, that may not be registered, have never come to police kind of recognition before in child sexual abuse, that travel abroad into Africa, and the opportunity avails itself whereby they start abusing children in this way.
But you had to be tipped off by ourselves for this case. Is that a bit embarrassing? Does it suggest that you're not doing enough to keep track of potential offenders?
No, far from it. We cannot be everywhere. We have to work with the public. We're grateful that Channel 4 brought this to our attention, and we worked with you recently on this. So we're grateful for that. And I will say to anyone out there, if you know anything about these issues, then bring them to our attention. You can either do that online or just dial in the police.
You said your preference would always be for cases to be dealt with in country. Why could this not be dealt with in Kenya?
Well, my preference is that they are dealt with wherever. It doesn't matter if it's in the country where it occurs or here. But these have been around. There was an act back in '97 that gave us the original powers, and then in 2003, this Section 72 of the Sexual Offences Act was brought into being. And the only other area where this could be undertaken is when a Brit murders abroad. And we've seen cases where people have been brought back here or tried in country. I can't answer for why it can't be dealt with in Kenya, but the Kenyan authorities have worked with us to ensure, and they gave us permission to travel, to go over to conduct these interviews, and gave us local law enforcement officers to work with us.
Andy Baker, thank you very much for joining us.